Hi there, my name is Gary Friedman and welcome to the Friedman Archives blog. Today I'm going to talk about two new cameras from Sony. One is called the A7CR, famous for being 61 megapixels, the same full frame sensor as the A7R5. The other one is the A7C2. Same body, same full-size sensors. This one here has the same 33 megapixel sensor as the A7 IV. But they're both in a much smaller body. That's the appeal for it. The reason I'm talking about this is because I just finished an 840-page ebook about these two cameras, which should be coming out next week. And I wanted to talk to you about some of the high-end features and also some of the more obscure things that you're probably not going to read about online. So let me start by talking about a feature that only ships with the A7CR. This is, I don't even know what you call it. This is a device you put underneath the camera to make it bigger. Apparently the marketing department determined that some people feel the camera is a little bit too small, so they put this accessory in the box. You put it on the bottom, just like you would an auto winder or a motor drive or a vertical grip. And now, there it is. It gives your pinky a place to hang out. Kind of interesting, but it kind of nullifies the size advantage of the original A7C concept with C for compact. Let me show you next to a A7R5. Which one's bigger? Good question. Anyway, it's a feature, it's optional. Oh, and another really cool thing about it is it's got this little switch on the bottom. If you move the switch, you can flip that out of the way and they can change your battery. Some thought went into it. Normally you can't attach it to any other camera body because there's a little tiny teensy-weensy pin that goes into a corresponding hole in the camera. You can take that off, but I tried it on several different camera bodies. It doesn't fit in anything else I have. Not even the A6700, which is very close in body size. So let me talk first about features that only appear on the A7CR. The first one is the most impressive one in my mind, and it's the same feature that appears in the A7R5. It's a pixel shift multi-shooting, where you can take 4 or 16 pictures and shift the sensor left and right, up and down by either 1 pixel or 1/4 of a pixel each way. This is a feature that Olympus introduced back in the day, but Sony has perfected it. What's even more impressive in the A7R5 version is that it has additional sensors, so you no longer need a tripod in order to be able to take these 16 different pictures. Handhold it as best you can. When you combine the images on your computer later on, it will shift it a little bit more and make everything line up. It's wonderful. You can get 240 megapixel images using this, and you don't even have to carry a rock-solid tripod with you everywhere. How cool is that? So the way you get to the pixel shift multi-shooting function is to hit menu, go to the image shooting, and head over to the drive mode. And the very last option in the drive mode menu is called pixel shift multi-shooting. Again, you don't need a tripod for it. And it has two different options. The first option is, you see it all right? It'll take you 4 shots, which doesn't improve the resolution, but improves the detail. And this one takes 16 different shots, which improves the resolution up to about, 240 megapixels. But you need to use the Imaging Edge desktop software, specifically the edit module, to combine all the images and produce your final output. So there's another feature I can't show you, but I can talk about it. It's the ability to output raw information out the HDMI port in case you have an external 4K video recorder hooked up to the HDMI port. Again, I can't show it to you, but I can show you the menu item on how you get there. It goes under the Setup menu, and if you scroll down a little bit more, you'll see External Output. And here you'll find a couple different things. You can set your resolution for your output, and here are the output settings. You have a whole bunch of different options. These two are grayed out because the camera doesn't sense that there's a 4K external recorder hooked up to the HDMI port, but when it does, these two will become active, and you can output it for a maximum malleability back in post. You can grade it to your heart's content. The A7C2 doesn't offer that. So before I point out the features that are common to both cameras, I want to point out something about this kit lens. Kit lenses are, people thumb their nose at them because, oh, they're cheap, oh, they're lightweight, oh, they're small, which all of these things are true. And it's great to have a small lens for such a small camera. But I took this portrait last week with this and a wireless flash set to f5.6. That lens is ridiculously sharp. Way better than I was expecting. Look at those, you can count those eyelashes. Impressive. Anyway, don't turn up your nose at the kit lenses anymore. My favorite new feature is one that was actually borrowed from the ZV line of vlogging cameras. It's called the auto framing. And I'll show you what it does in a second, but here's how to get to it. Hit the menu button and go to, And you're not going to find it there because the camera has to be in video mode first. Right now I'm in stills mode. So I'm going to change it to video mode. Going to the first one and head over to the very last option there in the shooting option. And then the last option there is called auto framing settings. And here you have a whole bunch of different options to go through. And in the book, I'll explain what every one of them does. But let me give you a quick demonstration of how it actually works. Hold on just a second. I'm going to plug this in. Hi there. You can see me, huh? This is great for college professors who like to walk around and wave their arms and do all sorts of things. And you don't need to hire a cameraman to track the subject. Pretty cool, huh? Next is a feature you're not going to hear about anywhere else. There's a new accessibility feature called Enlarge Screen, and it's made for visually impaired folks who have a hard time reading the menus. Let me show you how to get to it, and then I'll show you how it's used. Head over to the setup, and then there's an accessibility menu here. It's only got 2 items in it. Screen reader, forget about that one. Enlarge Screen is the one I'm talking about. And you can have it off or on, and when it's on, custom button 1 it gets assigned. If you're ever in a menu like this and you can't really see what's going on, you hit custom button 1 and it enlarges it. I can hit custom 1 again, it gets even larger, and you can actually scroll around in there. If I didn't have my HDMI connector hooked up to the camera right now, I could take my finger and browse around with it and kind of move things around. It's a small thing. Most of you probably won't be needing it, but again, you won't find this information anywhere else. Next, I'm going to show you some of the menus and the options for the world-famous subject recognition and tracking feature, which has been lifted directly from the A7R5 and is just as effective here. It's really impressive. You can get to them. Let me go back into stills mode here. You can get to them in the autofocus menu, subject recognition. Now here you got a whole bunch of different things. Most of the factory defaults are okay, so you don't have to worry about them if you're worried about being overwhelmed with detail. But the book explains everything. Here you can choose a lot of the different subjects you can recognize. One is a human, an animal, or a bird, and the definition for animal has been expanded since the early days of the Sony subject recognition. Not only can it do pets, dogs and cats, but it can also do birds. It can do rhinoceroses. Any kind of an animal with an eye. You can do just birds. You can do insects. Here, I think they were going overboard. Cars, trains, airplanes. I had no problems photographing cars, trains, or airplanes in the olden days without these tools, but it's there in case you need it. Now, some of the options have even more options. If you change your recognition target to bird, for example, and go to the right, we'll skip over all these options here. You can say, do you want to recognize the head, the eye, or the body, or just the eye and the head, or just the eye? It can be very picky. And you have other options here too, right? Right, left eye select is in case you're doing a human subject. You can specify which eye to focus on. I can't show you the features in action because I have no wild animals here, and the cat just doesn't want to pose for anything. But the functions are there. You can read up on this feature on any other review online. The next feature is one of my favorites, and it's an improvement over a capability Sony's had for a couple of generations now. Let's say you're a photojournalist, and you're out in the world shooting something newsworthy, and you want your images to be sent instantly to the FTP server owned by Associated Press or by Alloy or something. You just want them uploaded instantly and let some other editor take care of it from there. The capability's been there for a while. What you do is set up your phone as a Wi-Fi hotspot, and then you'll be able to FTP from your camera directly to the FTP server. The improvement is the link between the camera and the phone. The Wi-Fi hotspot was pretty good, but you can actually increase that bandwidth considerably by tethering your phone to the camera using a USB cable. You know, like USB tethering. That feature now exists on both cameras, and here's the way you get to it. Menu, under the network, there's a new option there called USB, LAN, and tethering. Tethering is the one that we're interested in. So what would happen at this point is you enable USB mode on your phone, hook the two up together, and then that's it. What happens is you shoot and the phone does all the buffering. And then even after you turn your camera off, the phone will upload it to your FTP server in the background while you're driving home. And then you can just have a beer instead of worrying about uploading everything to Lightroom and walking around the block for a while. Anyway, those are some of the features you won't find talked about anywhere else. I would be derelict in my duties so I didn't point out that you can buy my incredibly large ebook on both these cameras, the A7CR and the A7C2, at my website, friedmanarchives.com/A7CR. One book covers both cameras. Thanks very much for watching, and enjoy exploring the world with your cameras.